Hello and welcome. So I thought this would be a great day to dive into another Prep Files episode. So using, my own recent competition prep journey as the topic for conversation today. So I know everyone, well, if you've been listening in or if you've been following my journey, you know that last year was the first time I had stepped back on stage since 2020. And I had a really great prep. And that is in one of our podcast episodes a little while back. I don't remember the exact number of it, but it is there. If you want to tune into that journey, you can find it on our podcast. And so I thought I would go ahead and give an update on how this year is going. So this year started out actually really good. I felt super strong after prep last year. During all of prep last year, we were able to keep my calories higher than I've had to go, in past years, which makes sense because there's been a lot of muscle that I've developed over, since 2020 to last year. So with the increase in muscle mass, it does raise metabolism some. Also spending, those 3 years not dieting and focusing on eating as much food as I possibly could really helped to build up metabolic capacity as well. So we were able to go through prep pretty high calorie with definitely not as much cardio as I normally do. So when we stepped back into prep this year, I think in February-ish, because our timeline should have been like February to July, we had some really good results at first, and then it kind of stalled out. And so, we adjusted calories down a little bit, increased cardio a little bit, but still only like 4 days of cardio. So truly, truly not that much compared to what I've had to do in the past. We were seeing, good retention of muscle mass, really good performance still. And then, life started getting a little bit dicey. I started having, some more fluctuations in hormones, even with being on HRT. And that's fine. That's to be expected. I pay a really close attention to that. And, try to stave off any problems that I can, see with tracking results and tracking symptoms. So if I'm seeing something is out of line, characteristically where it has been, and that's maybe potentially headed in a direction that's not going to be beneficial for my health or for my performance, I can kind of stave that off, with rearranging training, rearranging nutrition, those kind of things, maybe adding some supplements. But so we started seeing some of that, and it wasn't really responding. So then, it kind of got compounded. I tore my hamstring pretty badly, and recovery is just, honestly, it's been not great at all. This happened, what is this month? July, May, April. So probably like the end of April, I think, is when that happened. And so the recovery has just not been great, even though I've been going to physical therapy, at least once or twice a week since then. Backed off on training. We thought we could do, some anti-inflammatories and see some good progress. And it's healed pretty well, but there's still a tremendous amount of pain on a daily basis, like almost constantly, just because of when it tore, there was some additional fascia root bounding, which tangled up a nerve. And then there's just, pain, and it freaking sucks. So we've got that, on top of training really hard and still seeing the needle move up on lifts and dieting and having macros dialed in and, minimal cardio. But now we have an injury. So there's more stress on top of the training stress, on top of the dieting stress. And then at home, we started having, some family stress, and that's just to be expected. We are a family unit. There's more than just myself in the house. So living with people, there will always be some level of stress. With a teenager in the house, there's going to be, probably more stress. So started having that going on too. And so with all of the stress combined, now we have, training stress, we have dieting stress, we have an injury stress, we have perimenopausal hormone fluctuation stress, and now we have family stress. And my body is just like, started to push back really hard. And we didn't really dial down on food anymore. We didn't increase cardio anymore, because doing so would further compound the issue. We are still seeing some fat loss, even though the scales kind of stalled out. So we're like, okay, we can see what happens. But then, going through prep, having fatigue is normal. Having, some mood swings is normal because you are doing something that is not normal. But there is a limit to that. So we don't, want to move through a situation where the fatigue is so great, you're negatively impacting your health. So then on top of all of this, I started seeing, some nagging pains, like my shoulder started hurting again, my ankle is hurting. So I know that like all of these things are just compounding up and up and up because of the increase in inflammation from the diet, from the training, and now from stress. So we have inflammation that's not clearing. So, put some steps in place to manage inflammation. Okay, sure, but just not really making any kind of impact. So with all of that being said, then my body is like, hey, we're going to start waking you up at 2:00 in the morning for over a month now. And I'm just like, holy crap, my body is taking away the one thing I think that was holding me together, was having good quality sleep every night. And without that, like, I freaking cannot function. I forget things. My phone is literally running my life based on the calendar. It sends me a reminder, hey, in 10 minutes, you got to do this. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm so not prepared. Like, I just can't get it together. My husband the other day, he says to me, he's like, you're a very thin, fragile glass plate. And I was like, oh my God, that's freaking accurate, because that's exactly how I feel. Like I'm just going to shatter into a million pieces. So we had some labs ran, and hormone wise, everything looks okay. We didn't test cortisol. We just did hormones, and those look pretty balanced. I mean, I'm still slightly estrogen dominant. That's just how my body runs. Even with supplementing progesterone and testosterone, I'm still just, my body, it runs on beta, so it's going to be more estrogen dominant. But I feel hormone wise, I feel fairly balanced. Like I don't feel crazy based on hormones. If you have had hormonal fluctuations and you've had craziness that is hormone related, that is a different feeling compared to any other kind of mood swing. So that's not going on. I'm just absolutely and utterly drained. So, looking at the whole picture, an injury is not a big thing. Dieting is not a big thing. Training is not a big thing. Having family stress is not a big thing. But, missing a few nights of sleep is really not even a big thing. But when you compile all those things together, it is a big thing. And when, I have in the past, when I was younger, really dug myself into a hole with adrenals and with metabolism. And I am frankly unwilling to do that again. So we ordered the labs. Those are fine. I've ordered a 24-hour cortisol test. We'll have those results here in a couple of days. And those will tell me, what I need to do supplement wise as far as restoring a better cortisol rhythm, because mine right now is no good. But based on that, looking to be proactive, I also know that, I've helped so many clients through adrenal fatigue and adrenal dysfunctions, that I know what I need to do. And so I'm going to be moving through our core restorative protocol. If you are in the restorative program, you've done this and you know what it is. If you're not, and you have hormonal imbalance, or you have cortisol issues, or you have digestive problems, you need to contact us and you need to get into our restorative program. So I'm going to be moving through that 2-week protocol that we start out with inside of our restorative program. And inside of that, I'm going to be moving through a very controlled menu, which kind of stresses me out because I absolutely hate following meal plans, which, I think goes back to, struggling with my weight through most of my teenage years and my 20s, and following super restrictive meal plans from magazines and from books. So I'm not looking forward to following a meal plan, but I also know that it's only 2 weeks. And I also know what this meal plan does and the tremendous amount of power it has to heal and rebalance hormones and to rebalance cortisol and to help heal gut issues. So the benefits of the meal plan definitely outweigh the cons. And like I said, it's only 2 weeks, so it's not a forever space. This entire adrenal issue is not a forever space, no matter if it's high or low or HPA axis dysfunction. It is not a forever space. I'm not going to live here. I do not have to give up competing forever. I just have to fix the way that my body is currently handling and managing stress. And we're going to start that at the core foundation of nutrition. So not only do I have all of the self-care practices that I do every week, I have my quiet time in the afternoon, I have yoga, I have, taking the magnesium baths. That is like probably one of my favorite things to do for stress management. I have those things in place already. I do my breath work. I have an excellent bedtime routine. So all of those things are already in place, and we're just going to, get out of the calorie deficit, implement the restorative protocol, and wait for my results to get back so that I know which supplements to implement. Now, when I'm following the restorative protocol, I'm going to follow it exactly like any of our clients would follow it. It's 6 meals a day, it's 3 specific supplements, and it's a lot of water. I don't foresee any of those things being challenging because I'm already eating that way and I'm already drinking that much water. I already have supplements to take. There are some of the supplements, I've already cut out, like I'm not taking any fat burners. I'm not taking anything that's in any way stimulating because I need my cortisol to balance. So we're taking those things out and just implementing truly nourishing supplements. We'll keep in some of the reishi mushrooms. We'll keep in the liver support that's in the restorative protocol anyhow. It's like those things that I'm already doing are just going to be, added on to by implementing the foods from the restorative protocol. So I know that my situation isn't unique. I've seen, plenty of women that are not competing come in this same exact condition simply from living life on a day-to-day basis, where you are trying to be healthy. So you're dieting, you are exercising and doing boot camps, you are working because you have to work, you're raising your children, you're taking care of your spouse, and you come in and you're in this exact same position that I am in from your day-to-day life. So my heart definitely goes out to each and every one of you. I mean, it has, or I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But this is why when you come in and you're in this place, we go through the restorative protocol, because I know that it works. And I know that it is the first step in addressing these cortisol issues and getting you back to balance, but also getting you enough nourishment so that your body can start to heal. So that's what I'm going to do. That is my plan for the next 2 weeks. So if you are following on social media, please go ahead and tune in. I will be posting about that as much as I can. I'm trying to step back a little bit so that, I'm not being overwhelmed, and really making sure that I am focusing on being calm and being mindful of what my body needs, and also implementing as much rest as possible to, again, help balance out the cortisol rhythms. So that is where my journey's at. I don't know yet if I will be able to get things corrected. Did I catch it fast enough? Will I be able to repair it quickly enough that I can step on stage this fall? I don't know. And that has to be okay, because if I rush this, it will undo whatever repair that I'm doing now. And if I rush this, I may end up with, in a worse spot than where I am now. So like, maybe not only will I have, adrenals that are dysfunctioning, but I also risk metabolic adaptation and having a metabolism that works slower, which I really don't want to do, because I've spent so long building up metabolic capacity. And for any of you that have worked with us and struggled through reverse diet, just know that you're not alone. Even as teachers and instructors and professionals, we still have to move through the same seasons that you move through. I think the only difference is that when we move through those seasons, we simply do what we have to do, and we don't ask any questions, and we don't complain, and we just do the work, because we know what is sitting on the other side. We know what the outcome is going to be. And I think when you don't have that past experience, and you haven't seen the application, 500 million times, you don't trust it as much. So you're more hesitant. And that's certainly understandable. I would feel the same way. In fact, the first time I did a reverse diet, I felt the same way. But I do know the benefit that this restorative protocol can have on each and every woman. I've seen it hundreds of times since we began implementing it back in 2021. And the benefits have just been astronomical. It's such a huge asset. So I will be moving through that protocol over the next 2 weeks. Going to start it here today is Monday. So we're going to start it here on Wednesday. Once I have my current meal prep has gone, and just stay tuned for the journey, because right now, exactly as much as I know. Do I know exactly what caused it? No, but I do really believe that all of these things combined is the reason that I am currently in the space that I'm in. But like I said, it is not a forever space. I do not have to spend the rest of my life here. My body does not have to go out of control. I am still in control, and I am doing the things that need to be done to reverse this current place that I'm in, so that I can be in a place that I feel is more desirable. Because I certainly don't want to be functioning the rest of my life at this level, because it's not it's not beneficial for me. It's not beneficial for my family, or anyone that I love, my clients, like literally no one. I feel like I'm walking around with half a brain. So working to resolve the core issue right now, which is an adrenal function issue. An adrenal dysfunction issue. See, my words don't even work right. All right, so stay tuned. He will be able to watch what's going on with the restorative protocol. You'll be able to see the supplements I'm using. And then when I get those cortisol tests back, we'll begin to start a specific supplemental regime to also help supplement these things that I'm doing. So you cannot fix adrenal dysfunction just by throwing supplements at it. You have to address the root cause. So going back to how much food you're eating, how much you are training, what are these other outside stressors. And sometimes we feel kind of stuck, because a lot of the times the stress is our family, and we can't get away from our family. But what we can do is really work to enforce what is inside the circle of our control. And if things are not inside the circle of our control, then we need to work on letting those things go. And I know that's way easier said than done. It's something that I currently have to practice all the time, because I'm not necessarily very good at letting things go that are outside of my control. But I have to. If I want to be better, if I want to feel better, I have to continue to work on letting go of things that are outside my control. If you would like a copy of our little wheel of circle control, let us know. We'd be happy to send that over to you. If you would like to chat about seeing if our restorative program is correct for you and your hormone imbalances, your adrenal issues, and your gut issues, please send me a message and we can have that conversation. But otherwise, stay tuned for, to see what going through the restorative protocol is like. Stay tuned to find out what's wrong with my adrenals and the way they're currently functioning, and then what we're going to be doing to, get the cortisol to function in the manner that it is supposed to, instead of being dysfunctional like it currently is. And that is, a wrap for right now. We don't know if I'm going to be competing this year or not. It's really up to my body and how it heals. So you now all know as much as I do, but I thought it would be great to come on and let you all have an update and a insight into what is currently going on. All right, I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you all soon.